day, everybody, and welcome to the Doc of Detox show. I'm Dr. Darrell Wolfe here with Dr. Tony Jimenez for the Hope4Cancer Q&A. Together, we are going to transform your life and expand your mind so that you can live to your full potential. Now, we're talking about living to your full potential. Guess what? I got a secret for you. You'll never live to your full potential. Your potential is unlimited, eh, Tony?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Dr. Tony Jimenez, why don't you tell everybody where you are right now?
Well, that's why the potential is unlimited for me at this moment because I'm actually coming through from Taipei, Taiwan. I've been on an Asian tour for the last 9 days, and it's 7 a.m. here in the morning. So I slept a good 5 hours, and I feel that potential just coming through.
So, listen, what can you tell us new in the world of holistics and cancer? Are you learning anything? What are you doing over there? What would you like to share with the audience?
Yes, yes. Ty Bollinger is going to put out the next Truth About Cancer in April 2019, and it will be called the Truth About Cancer Eastern Medicine or Asia edition. So we're touring 7 countries. We started off in Japan, interviewed 13 doctors, and it was quite revealing. One of the main things is that, as we know, Dr. Wolfe, is that, the emotions are so important in all this. And one of the doctors mentioned that 30% of the immune system is solely based on the emotional state of the individual. 30%. That's huge.
That is
So,
beyond
yeah,
huge, yes.
beyond huge. So that was one thing. And just knowing what we are teaching here month after month on the Docstar TV show is the importance of nutrition, the importance of heavy metal detoxification, colon health, as you very well teach your students and clients. And so I think that the world is at a common holistic mindset of treating cancer. There are new things coming out from Asia, and that's exciting. Last night here in Taiwan, we met an old friend of mine, Dr. Enta Lo, and he has a product that is a bamboo charcoal product. So what happens here is that it bypasses the stomach, bypasses the small intestine, and it releases 27,000 pellets into the colon. And in doing that, it just starts that process of detoxing at the lower bowel area.
And I'm
Uh,
sure
so
it's
that was,
I'm sure it's carrying in minerals and nutrients too.
it's carrying in minerals. And what he said is the important thing about this particular product and the way it's delivered is that it doesn't eliminate nutrients because this is being released in the lower bowel, not
Right.
in the small intestine. So that was quite interesting. Another great visit yesterday here in Taiwan was with a dentist, a biological dentist, and he's doing two interesting procedures. One is saving root canal teeth. By what? By using photodynamic therapy, antimicrobial photodynamic therapy. And Dr. Wolfe and the viewers, is that at Hope4Cancer, we're well renowned for our use of sound and light therapy or photodynamic therapy in treating cancer. And I could tell you about that in a moment because that's gone huge developments in the last few months. But using light to sterilize an infected root canal tooth, using ozone in that area, and using amino acids so that he is saving that tooth from having to be extracted, which is the first time I hear this, anywhere in the world.
Excellent.
Second, yeah. Secondly, when a tooth is extracted, not a root canal tooth, any tooth, he's cleaning it, sterilizing it in his own process, and then grinding the tooth and then putting that grounded tooth bone back into that pocket where the tooth, was before. And he has sufficient evidence to show that that pocket, it heals so much faster and it closes up upon itself. So that was
Beautiful.
kind of interesting. Yeah.
if I can say something and just pull it back for a second, Tony, think about where we were, and maybe we don't want to, but think about where we were 25 years ago in this whole cancer thing. It's not that we were totally in the dark, but the light's so bright now, and the world has become a smaller place, and the whole cancer answer is popping right out and in front of everyone, and that I don't think people should be scared, and I don't think they should be scared, especially because of people like you. I mean, you're going to four corners of the earth, you and Ty Bollinger, and uncovering all this stuff. But even before you even did that, already what you do down at the Hope4Cancer clinic, and just your statistics alone, compared to, and I will say, conventional ways of treating cancer. I mean, think about it, Tony. 25 years ago, people maybe didn't have as much cancer, but the thing is that they were definitely scared of it, and they were in the dark, and there was no alternative. There was no Hope4Cancer. Okay, there was no Doc of Detox. I mean, 25 years ago, I had my clinic, and we were doing colon therapy, and we were doing cleansing. But back then, you were a health nut if you went to somebody like me and you. Now, you're not a health nut. You're beginning to be the majority of the population.
Right. And to that end, Darrell, we're seeing more doctors as patients, nurse practitioners, chiropractors, nurses, because even the people within the health field are finding out that, hey, I don't want to go that route of chemo or radiation. And so you're absolutely correct. I mean, cancer, we know absolutely is not a death sentence. And we have to take that fear away from what the doctor has told you. And knowing that no matter if you're in stage 4 or stage 1, there's always hope because we've seen it. It's not like a fantasy or a dream. We see that day after day where patients in stage 4 have total recovery.
Yeah, and now there's stage 5, Tony, and then there'll be stage 6, and then there'll be
Yeah.
stage 7. You know what? But there is. I mean, a lady just called me up the other day and said she had stage 5.
So I pulled up on my
Yeah,
phone.
and the reason for that is because
I just can't hear Tony.
before the medical and pharmaceutical industry,
anyways,
they made medication to treat diseases. Now they make diseases and stages so that they can make more medications. So it's a crazy thing what's happening.
Yeah, and I want to share a little story, and then I'm going to pass it right back over to you because this is what the show is all about. But I want to talk to people, and if you were on my Facebook this week, you would see it. We had a lady come, and I want to share this with you as well, Tony. It's a story about a mother and her daughter that came. What happened is first the mother got cancer in the sigmoid colon. So what they did was when they got the cancer, first thing they did was they cut the cancer out, gave her chemo, and actually gave her radiation too. So then what happened was where they cut and they did the surgery, Tony, the tumor came back. So then they repeated the same thing over again, okay? And she had success. She went to a clinic in Mexico, and she truly believes that really helped her, okay? But the problem was, then what happened, the tumor came back again for the third time, right where the incision was. Okay, so I want everybody to understand something, and this is not about me, but this is about understanding that you have more power than you've been led to believe. So she came in with a 6-inch by 3.5-inch by about 1.5 inches deep, Tony, with a tumor.
Okay.
I worked on her for a half an hour and brought it down by about 25-30%. They left yesterday after 9 days, and we took the actual tumor, and the tumor now is only 30% of its size. And we taught the daughter, how to do what we were doing. So
tell us a little bit how that was achieved, Dr. Wolfe.
Well, how it was achieved is okay, let's establish this. First of all, a tumor is made out of what? It's made out of, yes, they call them cancer cells. Those are fast proliferating cells, right, Tony? Would you like to add something to that?
Well, yeah, they're fast proliferating cells, and the most dangerous cells in a tumor are called cancer stem cells. Those are
That's
the
right.
ones that metastasize.
Now, not all of a tumor is actually cancer cells. So the thing is that the most part of a tumor is actual fibroscar tissue, and it's been building up because of the proliferation, the inflammation, and
Hmm.
because it wants to create more of itself, like we do. You know, we want to create more of ourselves. So the thing is this: what I did was, is I first went in around the edging, and then I found where it had its weak points. Every tumor has a weak point. Sometimes you can go in on a certain part of a tumor, and it's like you're hitting a cement wall. Then you go over and you move just a half an inch over, and you find there's a crack in it. It's not stable. So then we go in there and we start working and doing the elbow work and going around it. I have pictures, I have video to prove all this. So the ideal thing is this: if you were to actually, if you're in a situation and you actually use the information that Dr. Tony Jimenez has at the Hope4Cancer Clinic, and you learn to empower yourself when you go home. Let me tell you something. There are so many people that are so fearful that they get stuck and they can't move. You know what? It's like they're in shock. You cannot be in shock. And if you go to your doctor and he creates more fear and you become frozen in your mind, it's over. You just lost the game. You know, you have to understand something. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put doctors down, but I'm going to tell you something. They better start putting you up. And they better start reinforcing how powerful you are. And remember, only you can cure your cancer. But guess what? When you get yourself on fire, there's no better place that you can go. And I will tell you right now. And Dr. Jimenez, you know, I've seen his work. I've been down to the clinic. So understand something. It's not like he promotes me and I promote him. He scratches my back, I scratch his back. Everybody needs to understand, if this is the first time you watch this show, I decide who comes on my show. Dr. Jimenez doesn't give me anything for this. Understand something. We, the people, need to be together, and we need to go where we need to find the most cutting edge technologies, okay, and people with a heart. And then when your doctor talks to you, you will never talk to Dr. Jimenez and run away with your Nikes because you're so scared of him, or be in fear, or think you are not going to survive. I will tell you something. When you go down to Hope4Cancer Clinic, or you deal with people like myself, we will bring the thriver out in you, not the survivor, because you no longer have to go to war with yourself. You know, you just have to learn how to embrace yourself and do this. So understand something. The power is yours. And I'll tell you, so many people today have been educated into weakness. And what happens is they never have to get themselves to the point that they feel their life is going to be threatened by the disease. But it happens, and I'll tell you something right now. You need to check out Dr. Tony Jimenez's website. So we're opening up for questions. The number's 888-570-9445. And remember something. This show is about you coming on and getting your questions answered. And also, I will speak for myself, but feel free to challenge me on any level that you want, okay? Because it's your life. I don't expect you to believe me or to believe Dr. Tony Jimenez, because now you're taking a different path than most people. But just remember, just because the majority's doing it, okay, it doesn't make it right. And just because the majority is now 80% of the population is pre-diabetic, 80% of the population has autoimmune disease, 80% of the population is overweight or obese, and 50% of the population are going to experience cancer. And this show is about giving you the best life that you will ever have, as much as we can deliver that to you. I'd like you to take it away, Dr. Tony Jimenez.
Well, thank you for that. Brilliantly said. And we know now, especially when we travel the world and find that, cancer is everywhere. It's growing, and people need to be aware of the things that you mentioned. They need to be aware that now is a time to take preventive measures, because it's easier to prevent something like cancer and chronic disease, oftentimes, than treating it. So It's on the rise. It is an epidemic. And teach others what you've learned here. Share our website, hope4cancer.com. And we're ready for your questions.
Yes, and is there any questions or any call-ins yet? Okay, I just and everybody can see his website, right? It's up. Okay. All right. So, Tony, we don't have any questions right now, but we do have somebody that actually called in and wanted me to ask you a question. And I could have answered it, but I told her to just come on the show and to listen what has to be said. She asked me if you treat just cancer at the Hope4Cancer clinic.
Well, at the Hope4Cancer Clinic and in my 30 plus years of working in this field of integrative oncology, one thing we realize is that the 7 key principles that I've developed throughout this time, which are to treat cancer, 6 of these principles are for all of us and are for prevention, are for treating heart disease, inflammatory bowel disease, any arthritis, diabetes, anything. So the part of this message is that learn the 7 key principles, and I'll say them briefly. Number one is non-toxic cancer therapies, and that's a whole, broad category. So that's the one of the 7 principles that's only for those with cancer. The next 6 principles are for everyone else, including the person that asked you the question, Darrell. And those are oxygenation. We're very shallow breathers nowadays. We need to learn how to breathe. We need to move. One of the main reasons for cancer and chronic disease is lack of adequate circulation at the micro circulatory level. It's not the big vessels. When the doctor finds big vessel disease, like coronary in the heart or the carotid in the neck, way before that, it started at the microvascular level. So we need to move, we need to oxygenate, we need to do the things that you teach about skin brushing, all the detox, so that circulation is enhanced. Truly, cancer and most chronic disease, if you look at it carefully, it's the disease of circulation. And that goes through to what traditional Chinese medicine learned, even in this part of the world in Asia. The next key principle is immune system. So no matter what disease the person has that you're referring to, Darrell, the immune system has to be modulated. If it's too high, hyperactive, we need to decrease it. If she has a poor immune system, we of course have to increase, upregulate that immune system. And then detoxification, as we know, it starts in the brain, right? And the thoughts, the negative thoughts, the negative attitude, all that. And then we need to look about on the gut microbiome. 75% of our immune system is in the gut. So we need to detoxify the gut. And importantly is get the right nutrients in the gut for maximum absorption. Then we need to work on the spiritual emotional level. That's also very, very important. And we can't leave out the last one, Dr. Wolfe, nutrition, right? So with these 6 of the 7 key principles, your caller can have good results, and anyone that's interested in prevention can focus on these 7 key principles. So they can come to Hope4Cancer, send us your records, and we'll be happy to review them and guide you accordingly. One of the new developments, listeners and viewers, is that now we have a technology that's non-invasive that can detect one single cancer stem cell. So we give you a substance in the vein that is non-toxic, that is picked up by any cancer cell, including cancer stem cells. Then this device has a long name, but I'll shorten it. It's called a spectroscopy device. We put it like a probe right on top of the vein where the catheter is, and in 1,000 seconds, the spectroscopy device is able to detect any cancer cell that is passing through them. So let's say, Dr. Wolfe, next time you visit us in Cancun, it takes a few minutes, and we'll be able to check if there's any circulating cancer cells in your blood. That doesn't mean you have cancer. That means if we detect a circulating cancer cell, we need to be more proactive, because what we don't want is those cells or that cell to settle in an organ, in the liver, the lung, the colon, the breast, anywhere like that, and start forming a tumor. So this is truly the highest level of prevention and assessment. Not doing a mammogram and then they find a lump in the breast. By that time, it's already a systemic disease. So a mammogram is not really a prevention or opportune diagnostic testing. When a mammogram finds a tumor, it's already metastasized into your bloodstream. Whether it's formed a tumor somewhere else, can and cannot be. But we need to look at those stem cells at an early stage. So for your question of the caller, the person that asked you, yes, we can treat in any chronic disease, and also more importantly work on prevention.
We just got another, when you were talking, we got another question in, and we had a caller. Jim wanted to know who would actually get that test, and um, when would you do it, and how easy is it, and how long does it take, and what they would fly down to Cancun or Tijuana, and then you would
Yeah.
do the test.
Yes, they will fly to either of the two clinics.
Right.
They'll fly to San Diego, and then our driver takes them across to Tijuana, or they fly directly into Cancun. They
Okay.
only have to be there 2-3 days for a full assessment, but the test itself takes 1,000 seconds. How many minutes is that? 1,000 seconds. And then we repeat it another 1,000 seconds,
Right.
just to
Right.
narrow, the possibility of a mistake in the first one. But it's 99.5% accurate.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So this is actually is this going to give me an idea? Like if somebody, let's put it this way. So if you're still in doubt and you really want to figure it out, it's going to give them a closer reading on this. Like,
It's going to give you a totally specific, accurate reading. If this spectroscopy device detects a circulating cancer cell, then my recommendation will be to do something about that, so that we're not facing a situation of a cancer occurring in the future, a
right.
tumor, right?
Okay.
So this is done for monitoring or prevention. I wish, everyone could have this test.
Well, why can't they?
Secondly,
Why can't they?
it's only limited by their
Mind.
by their
By their
minds.
mind.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So guess what? I don't have the time and I don't have the money. Well, guess what? Cancun's a nice place to visit. Okay. So is Tijuana. You can go down there and then go to a nice beach somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the reality is here, especially anybody out there that's a hypochondriac about cancer, which is most of the population now, because the
Exactly.
media have done such a great job. Let me tell you something, and I'm saying this to everyone, and you need to understand this is coming from my heart. If you have somebody in your family that is totally worried about having cancer or getting cancer, get them a plane ticket, have them go down there, and chances are they don't have it. Because I'm going to tell you something, and this is the God's truth. Whatever you think about the most, you'll become. And you're not your story. You are not your story. And listen to me. Unless you've done something like my Braveheart course 3 times, spent 9 months really working on becoming the master of your mind and creating authentic thoughts in the authentic you, then I'll tell you something. And if you're worried about cancer, then that'll be your most prominent thought. And I will tell you something. As far as I'm concerned, the God that created the universe said, when you go down there, remember one thing. Whatever you think about the most, longest and strongest, I will give you more of, because I'm a busy guy. And if you've ever noticed, any time that you've ever desired something with all your heart, you've got it. And any time you've ever feared something with all your heart, oops. So understand something. If you've got somebody in your family that is totally fearful, put them on a plane It might be 2, 3, 4 hour flight. I mean, all the way from Canada. It's a 4.5 hour flight. 4.5 hours later, they get picked up. They go to Tony's because I can't do this. I don't know anybody else who can do this. So send them down there for a week's holiday. And guess what? You'll have so much stress off your back because they're going to find out that they're not as sick as they think. Remember something. Think about the last time that you worried about something and you didn't take action. Oh my God, did it make you sick? Yeah. Did it make everybody else sick in the family? Absolutely. And did it cost everybody a lot of money? Yeah, because nobody could focus on being positive. Remember something. We are abundant in everything on this planet. We're abundant with water, with food, with air, and with money. You know what? Whatever you feel you lack in, you're going to. Okay, I can remember a time when I was so fearful about cancer, Tony. I got to tell you, my mother died of cancer. My father, my uncle died. My aunt died. Okay, we have cancer in the family, even with young teenagers in my family. So I'm just like full of it. But I don't feel any fear from cancer or any other disease.
And the thing here, Darrell, is that those thoughts, at the end of the day, are information, and cells communicate with each other. So if we're giving the cells that negative information, that information full of fear, because everything is resonance, it's energy, it's vibration, it's frequency, those cells are going to thrive. Those cancer cells can potentially thrive, or normal cells can become cancer cells, because now we're creating the energy, the environment, the habitat where cancer cells can thrive. The other two types of patients that could come to us, or people, are those, as you mentioned, that are in fear or want to know where they are, but also those people that have been told that they're in remission. They've had the surgery, they've had the chemo, they've had the radiation, and they say, go home, you're fine, and come back in 3 months, 6 months for another scan. That's a very difficult situation and potentially deadly if they don't take those next steps of being proactive and doing a holistic approach. So if you're in remission, this test is ideal for us to know really if you are in remission or potentially free of disease. Also, if you're undergoing therapy of whatever kind, you could have this test done to see how the therapy is affecting the cancer stem cells, which are the most dangerous cells in the tumor. So
yeah, they can mimic themselves to any organ, any tissue in the body.
Exactly.
And that's the problem right there. These are very powerful rogue cells. So I just want to go back for 1 second. So if everybody would understand this, and that is that you are very powerful beings, okay? So remember something. Our power down on this planet, we have a superpower on this planet. You know, we are supermen, superwomen, and the power on this planet is called emotions. That's energy in motion. And if you are the master of your emotions, then you are the master of staying at ease and creating, okay, not creating conflict, anxiety, and corruption in your body. But understand something. So look at it this way. So we know that we see everything in an image. So if we see everything in an image, and the reason why we do, did you ever hear that saying? And the best movie goes to, then creates what we call a frequency. That frequency actually creates what we call an emotion. That emotion will then be carried to the brain, and the brain is the chemist, and it releases different types of chemicals and hormones, some that actually heal you and some that will actually bring you down. Here's the situation. A lot of people cannot change their mind, but they can change their diet, and they can get physical therapy to help to slow down that raging fire inside their body. The reason why people don't want to deal with their emotions, or they think that they're totally okay. I've never met anybody okay, actually. And the last time I saw a couple that were actually in love with themselves and each other was about 5 years ago. Okay? So it's as rare as a unicorn. So that's the reality. And the thing is this: the reason why we gravitate to doing our physical therapies and changing our diet, and it happens quicker, is basically because the subconscious mind, its job is to stop you from doing anything good or anything different. So actually taking the stance and going to see somebody like Tony to relieve a situation in your mind is like so is crucial. You know,
Yeah.
people will go to the. How many people, Tony, do you know will go to the doctor every once or 2 or 3 months to see if they've got cancer? And we
Oh,
also know that there's no test in the medical system that is actually accurate enough to actually tell you that.
yes. That's why this test is so groundbreaking and exciting to have a Hope for Cancer, because now, accurately, specifically, we can tell you if there are cancer stem cells in your blood. And this has never before been available. And so please, take this opportunity, because that will free that negative thought, that emotion, that fear. And it's not about genetics. If your father, your mother, your uncle, your aunt had cancer, this doesn't mean that you'll have cancer yourself. But now you will know. And as
Okay,
long as you know, then you can take action. And to
absolutely.
take, yeah,
So if I can just say this, we're getting a lot of questions coming in now. I would like people to call in 888-570-9445. I really want to have callers because when you call in, remember something. I really want callers. When you call in, we're able to actually talk back and forth and actually give you answers. When you write in a question, it's only one sided. We're trying to tune into our psychic abilities to give you that answer when you could actually just call us and tell us your needs. Okay. Now, I've got one here, Tony. This one's a difficult one in a way that I could answer it, but I'm going to let you answer it. And all questions are real for us. We're not going to pick and choose. So Cindy asks, why does it cost so much to go to Hope for Cancer? I would like to get rid of this cancer, but cannot ever afford to go there. Can I say something before you start, Tony?
absolutely. Go right
Okay,
ahead.
guess what? Of course you can, Cindy. You just limited yourself. You would be surprised. Do you actually think that your mind is as expansive as the universe? Did you ever notice something, Cindy? That whenever you truly wanted something and you believed in it, it happened. You got a check in the mail, you got an inheritance, or someone called up and said, hey, I need you to do this, or someone said something to you. You know, the day that we don't believe that we were created by the Almighty God and that we don't deserve is the day that we will not get anything. You have to feel first that you deserve to be healed. And if you feel that you deserve to be healed, Cindy, that money's going to come to you and you're going to go get healed. You know, when you do not have faith that there are many other options that you don't know about, our minds are limited. But tell me that which created us is limited. Tony, would you like to answer that question?
Well, just to um, validate or confirm what you said, which is absolutely my thinking as well, is that never limit yourself. I could tell you hundreds of stories of how patients got to Hope for Cancer, whether it was from a tribal area in Africa or, La Jolla, California. So don't limit yourself. There's fundraising, there's prayer, there's intention, and good things happen. But feel free, Cindy, to send us your medical records if you haven't yet. We could review it, give you some information, and maybe start with some steps at home. But for sure, where there's a way, where there's a will, there's a way, and that's, I'm not saying that as a cliche, but truly it's intention. Me being here in Taipei, Taiwan right now, and visiting professors and medical doctors and PhDs. One of them, Dr. Kuo, brilliant guy in Taipei, has an amazing clinic here. His first thing is, before I start with a patient, I put my intention in the proper place, and then I work at the patient's intention. Because no matter what else I do, if that's not the starting point, then the success will not be there. So, Cindy, put that intention out there in however way you feel, in prayer, meditation, and we'll see you soon at Hope for Cancer.
And if I can say something, and I'm sure that Tony will tell me, or Dr. Jimenez will tell me if I've overstepped myself after the show, because he's too nice to do it on the show. But the reality is that my first part of this is, why isn't your government offering this? Second thing is, if you knew the hurdles, Cindy, and you knew how much it was to run his clinics, you wouldn't even ask that question. Because me being close enough, I know the financial hurdles that are put in front of Dr. Tony Jimenez so that he can't run his clinic properly. And the thing is that he also makes sure that he has high qualified staff, the best technology, and everything. We're talking about a top-notch hospital here. Okay?
And one of the things, Dr. Wolfe, also is that please, Cindy, be aware that the cost that you found out or were quoted, it's 3 weeks at the clinic and a home program with follow-up visits every 3 months. So it's more than meets the eye. You're going to go home with equipment. You're going to go home with a follow-up program, because no matter where you go in the world, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, that's just the initial robust thrust to get you to where you need to be. But the ongoing home program and the ongoing home support is really the key to long-term success, because you could only manage certain things in 3-4 weeks, because cancer didn't happen in 3-4 weeks. It didn't happen in a year. This is a process that, even according to some published studies, said it could have been 10, 15, even 20 years of a process before the tumor was developed. So don't go strictly with the numbers, Cindy. There's a lot behind this that's included in that cost.
But I do understand, Cindy. You know what? There was a time. There was a time in my life. Okay, there was a time in my life where everything was limited for me. We'll be with you in 1 second, caller. Thank you so much. But there was a time in my life where I felt limited by everything. Okay, and then you know what? I don't want to sound cliche either, but when you understand who you really are and what your potential is, it is unlimited. Okay. All right.
Hello.
And you might want to check out our braveheartlibrary.com on some of our emotional audios just to maybe get you started. Hi, caller. How can I help you? Caller?
Hello.
Hi, I'm here.
Hello.
Can you not hear me, caller?
Hello.
She can't hear me.
Hello.
She can't hear me.
Hi.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Oh, hi. Is this Dr. Darrell Wolfe?
Yes, it is. And who's this?
Wow. Hi. This is Kim.
Hi, Kim.
And wow, it's been a lot of years since I talked to you.
How can we help you?
I have a zillion probably questions. I really don't know where to start.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, you can start.
I did want to thank
just get
Monica
started.
and her
Can
mom
Tony?
for...
Can you hear her too?
No, you'll have to repeat the question, Dr. Wolfe. I
Okay.
cannot hear.
All right.
If I got bad connection.
No, go ahead, Kim. What's your question?
Wow, only one? Okay. I guess my important question for you, Dr. Darrell, is the scar tissue issue.
Oh, it's the scar tissue issue you want to talk about. Okay.
Well, I I don't know. It's like, I have a long story, but it's like, I have scar tissue and I don't even know where to start. But anyway, you were saying with like the scar tissue, it'll always come back in the scar tissue.
Well, no, the scar.
You
have to understand with scar tissue. First, let's understand. Okay, something. Okay. So
What was the question, Dr. Wolfe?
We're trying to get there. She asked me. She says, "Will the scar tissue always come back?"
Okay.
Well, will cancer always come back in the scar tissue?
Will cancer always come back in the scar tissue? Why don't you take that, Tony, and then I'll answer her. You go first.
Well, for cancer not to come back, not only in the scar tissue, but more importantly in other organs or cells in the body, is to follow the 7 key principles that I laid out earlier, And just to remind yourself of those 7 key principles, you could go to Hope4Cancer, the number 4,
Can't hear you.
Hope4Cancer.com, and look at the 7 key principles of cancer therapy and follow those, and you'll decrease highly, significantly, if not eliminate, the
Can't hear
risk
you.
of
Can you hold
having
for
a
a second,
recurrence.
Tony? We need to
Okay.
pull it. She can't hear me. And Tony can't hear me. The question.
Caller, can you listen in on your laptop or your device?
Pardon?
Could you try listening in on your device, like your laptop or your phone or whatever you're watching TV
Yeah,
on?
probably I am. I can shut it all off. Will that help? Because I was struggling to hear you anyway on that.
Okay, there seems to be.
Okay, everything's closed.
Can you hear us on your laptop at all?
The laptop is like, I can hardly hear you, so I went to my phone and I could still hardly hear you. So I got brave and called you. But now I've closed my phone, I've closed my laptop.
You can open your laptop back up and listen.
No, it was your laptop that we needed you to open, or your phone, so that you could actually hear us.
Oh, so I have to open something? Oh, shoot.
Yeah, well, that's how you're going to hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you, I can't hear Tony.
Okay.
Okay, so let's try to get this back on. I'm sorry, I could call back.
No, it's okay. Why don't you call us back as soon as you get it on, okay?
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, I'll call you back. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, let's go back to the questions. We'll pick up with her. Can you give me the questions there? Okay, so can you make it a little larger? So, Paulina, I have hyperpigmentation only on my lower right side and growing little bit at a time going to back. Only on my right side, nothing on my left. Is there a reason why, or could you tell me how to get rid of it? Could it turn into something worse? Dr. Jimenez?
Well, this is interesting because very little facts, not seeing the lesions or the pigmentations. I would just my personal recommendation is to see a dermatologist that you can trust in your area to see if they can give you some information as to what this is. Is this the skin trying to eliminate toxicity? Is it sensitivity to some foods or chemicals that you're exposed to? Why in that area? We all have areas of weaknesses in our body, and that's where things present themselves, whether they're cancer lesions or whether it's pigmentation or inflammation. So we just have to dig a little further, look at this. And what's interesting also will be to look at the possibility of the area where the hyperpigmentations are and the association with emotional traumas and conflicts in your life. So find someone in your area that can do that. Maybe Dr. Wolfe has some other suggestions, but we need to dig a little deeper and see why the body is responding like this. I'm glad that you're not ignoring it because this is a sign of something that's in dysregulation that we have to pay attention to. So, very well done, Paulina, to keep at it and go further into finding out.
Thank you. I would really take a look at that large intestine of yours, okay? Because you'll find out that your bacteria, they're not happy, all right? So you can always take a look when it comes to skin conditions. Take a look at the large intestine because your skin is a mirror of the large intestine. I would always start there and then work from the bottom up, right, Dr. Jimenez?
Yes, always from the
Yeah,
bottom up, from inside out.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the next question is, can you show, this is from Irene, can you show me how to gain weight after taking too much iodine?
Well, I'm not sure if the issue is taking too much iodine. It's very difficult to get iodine toxicity, especially in those over 45, 50 years of age, especially if you're taking the right iodine, like iodol, or Lugol solution, which is a combination of iodine and iodine. So it's very difficult to have toxicity from iodine if you're taking a natural source. So I think you need to look deeper from an emotional perspective on the weight issue. And, who better to help you with that than Dr. Wolfe? But there's more than just the iodine. We need to look also at thyroid function. Recommendation would be to possibly do a thermography, to look at thyroid function and maybe a full urine hormone profile to look not only on thyroid but estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, cortisol, those type of things. One of the best labs that I know that does this is in the Seattle, Washington area, called the Meridian Valley Labs, and that's run by a colleague of mine, Dr. Jonathan Wright, in the Seattle, Washington area. So it's Meridian Valley Labs, and you will do a 24-hour urine profile, hormone profile.
Excellent. So understand something, and we also know this, that I haven't seen anybody that they weren't helped on a thyroid level or adrenal level, that when they learn to just calm down, when they learn to connect to their breath, when they stopped imagining the end of the world coming. The first thing to do to really help your adrenals and your thyroid, you'll see they're both being disturbed here. You can't have one without the other. Is that um, always ask yourself, is this fear or is this a fact? Is this fear or is this a fact? And you're going to find out that 99% of the time you just made it up. Okay? It was just time for you to run your program. Everybody's running a program, whether we like it or not. You're either running a program that is supporting and really bringing your health together, or you're tearing yourself apart. People don't believe it, but you're either running a self-love program or a self-hate program. And most people don't realize they're running a self-hate program because their whole family's doing it, because their whole city's doing it. Do you understand? Their whole community is doing it. I mean, honestly, 1 out of 10,000 people actually awaken to their full potential on this planet. That's the name of the game. Okay? John asks, I have to go for an MRI on my back with and without contrast. How safe is the contrast liquid? What are the pros and cons and side effects?
Times more radiation exposure than one chest x-ray. With the MRI, you're not having the radiation, so that's a huge benefit. And that's what we recommend at Hope4Cancer for patients.
Tony, do you mind repeating it? Because we did lose you for about 30 seconds, right?
Okay.
Thank
So
you.
yes, I think the caller's name is John, and
Yeah.
I agree with that, John. It's much better to have an MRI than a CT scan. A CT scan is 100 times more radiation than one chest X-ray. So let's avoid those types of tests like CAT scan, PET scans. Them in themselves can increase the risk of normal cells becoming uh, transformed into malignant cells. So at Hope4Cancer, we do recommend MRI. With respect to the contrast medium, it's contrast medium, gadolinium. It's a foreign chemical in your body, but it's usually necessary because without it, we might miss some things in the MRI. So please do it, the MRI with the contrast medium, and then work on detoxification with near-infrared sauna, chlorella, spirulina, kelp, taking a lot of drinking a lot of water, making sure your bowel movements are good, and things should be okay.
Thank you. All right. So we have another question, and this is Judy, and she's asking. She heard that toe fungus can be a sign of pre-cancer. Tony, what do you think of that?
Well, toe fungus or any fungal infection, the most common one, of course, is candida. yeast infection is definitely a contributing factor for cancer and chronic disease. I believe that these microbes, however, can be there to protect that area from something even worse. So, anyone with fungus, toe fungus, frequent urinary tract infections with candida or vaginal infections, even in the sinus area. It's a warning sign. It's something that you need to work on. Either come to Hope4Cancer or see a naturopathic doctor in your area to help with this toe fungus. But more importantly, for the reasons why the toe fungus is there, right? That can be nutrition, can be malabsorption of nutrients in the gut, deficiency of nutrients. It could be an immune system not regulated, deficient immune system, maybe heavy metal toxicity. Usually, when there is a fungal infection anywhere in the body, it's associated with heavy metals like mercury, aluminum, cadmium, uranium, tin, and so forth. So go to a biological dentist also and have your mouth assessed for root canals, metal fillings, cavitations, which are pockets where the tooth was extracted, the gum sealed, but it left a cavity or a pocket, and that is a haven for infection. Also, up to 75% of people walking this planet have gum disease, periodontal infection, that's not manifesting as pain or soreness. But if your gums are bleeding easily, if just something doesn't feel right, make sure that's looked at by your biological dentist. So it's a combination of many things, Judy. I think those are the main ones that you need to take a look at. But thank you for being proactive and not ignoring the toe fungus.
I've got another question here, and this one is from Debbie. Okay. She wants to know um, if the success rate is as low as you say it is in our healthcare for treating cancer, and yours is so high. How is this can even continuing, and or how is this even legal? I'm not even sure what you want to say there, Dr. Jimenez, but
Well, I'll answer. I'm sorry. Let me. Hello. Can I call me back in about 30 minutes, please? I'm a little busy right now. Thank
just a
you.
little.
So I understood half of that because part of it was in Chinese and the other part was in English. So I got off the hook. But with respect to that question, I'll answer from the medical perspective, Dr. Wolf, and then you could take on from a more global perspective.
All
But
right, I'll
the
try.
statistics, yeah, the statistics are so good with us is because we're truly looking at the core features, the characteristics of cancer. We're not putting a band-aid and covering up things that are manifesting because there's a further breakdown in the body, meaning that the chemotherapy and the radiation is not addressing why the tumor formed. And surgery, seldom is surgery curative because cancer is not a local disease. Cancer is a systemic breakdown or a dysfunction. So if you remove the breast and then they say months later, oh, now you have metastasis in the liver or the bone, well, didn't they take all the breast tissue out? How could there be metastasis? They did a complete breast resection. It's that these circulating tumor cells. Again, this is why the test that I talked about earlier, the spectroscopy test, is so important because we could check those circulating tumor cells. So that's one reason. We're looking and addressing the characteristics or the core features of why you develop the cancer, including the emotional conflict side of things. Secondly, the statistics are that much better because we're giving you all the tools that you need to heal, unlimited tools, from teaching you how to eat, that exercise is important, that just being still and allowing the curative healing properties innate to the body to happen. And so statistics are quite impressive actually at Hope for Cancer. We did a third party retrospective study. That means we outsourced this study, 365 patients. 92% were in advanced stages where they were given no hope or they were told when diagnosed that there was no possible therapy. And of this 365 patients, this is an ongoing study. These patients had 3 to 6 months to live. Now, at 2 years, we just completed the 2 years, 76% of these patients are still alive and doing well. Compare that to the National Cancer Institute data, it's about 25 to 30%. So we're at least twice better than they are. That's because of our approach. And that's not taking into account that our patients were given up on, where their statistics are on stage 2 and 3, not stage 4. So that's very compelling results. But you have to want to take that step. You have to have the right intention and you have to have certainty, not doubt.
Okay, this is for you, Tony. She wants to know. I mean, you may not want to answer this, but she wants to know all the hundreds of millions of dollars that people are giving to research, and you're trying to say that, you've already surpassed all this so far. So why is this going on, and why is this being allowed to happen?
Yeah, and it's not only me. I have brilliant colleagues in the world. In this trip that I'm currently on in Asia, I'll be visiting 6, 7 countries and meeting fascinating people. They all, by the way, they all want me to open a clinic in their country, right? The Hope for Cancer franchise or facility there because they see the excellent work we're doing.
Right.
Uh, but the reason is, we're addressing the cause and we're working together with the patients. I think a lot of it is when they go into our clinic and see that there is an opportunity to healing, there is hope. Things drastically change. And what was the gist of the question,
Well,
Doctor?
now let me just. She just added another one.
Okay.
So
And
if
that was,
this is true, why aren't you in United States? And
oh,
why isn't this being taken on by all the hospitals? Do people not really care about people's lives, and does it really come down to just money?
well, why don't you answer that one, Dr.
Well, I
Wolf?
don't even want to do that, but
Okay.
um, okay. So does it really? Well, I think that we've already I stated it. You know what I mean? I mean, let's put it this way. I'm for. I believe that we're all family, and I believe for myself, and I can only speak for myself. That, and I can speak. I think I can speak for Tony too. That everything we do really come from the heart. And I would like anyone who wants to believe that I don't come online and challenge me on a financial level, a spiritual level, or in a mental level. Anytime, any that you want to come on, you do that. So, and the other thing is that this is why, you know, I mean, this is why I back up everything that we do. So let's just talk about us and understand something. You know, let me just say this. We do not have a justice system in our country. We have a revenge system. Okay? So let's just leave it at that. So I don't know where there's really any justice almost anywhere that's got to deal with any type of government or any large corporation or faction. So, you need to deal with people on a personal level. And I think that, even though we can call Dr. Jimenez's clinic not just a clinic, it's a hospital, you're dealing with everybody on a personal level. And please don't get me wrong. There are many hospitals in the United States and Canada that where are beautiful nurses and really caring doctors. But the whole thing is that when you are working for a sick system, you can't be more than that system. So I really don't want to touch it more than that because we all know that cancer is caused from corruption and conflict. And I truly believe that most of the people that end up going to Tony, they wake up and most of the cancers are created by the system creating conflict and anxiety and trauma in these people. Look, if you go to a hospital, I don't know anybody that ever gets any good news. I've never seen anybody come out smiling. They
You
don't
know
come out
what?
smiling. So
Sorry
that's a
to
problem.
interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you, Darrell. One of the things that patients often say is, "Wow, I've never been through my journey in a cancer hospital. That people are hugging, people are smiling, people are optimistic, people are feeling well. They're not losing their hair." And so that's what it's about. It's not about nuking the body and trying to poison it to health. You cannot poison a body to complete health. You could poison it to some temporary reduction in tumor sizes and tumor loads. And maybe, Debbie, you could say, well, Dr. Tony and Dr. Wolfe, I know people that have had cancer. They did the chemo, the radiation, and surgery, or a combination of those, and they're fine now, 5, 10, 15 years later. I would challenge you to really take a look at what really healed them. I think those patients have something innate. They're like the George Burns of the world, right? That do everything wrong and live to be past 100 or 100.
Yeah, but look,
Small, yeah,
but look at George Burns. He had
right,
such a positive attitude. You know, he
exactly.
was smoking that cigar and making love to it. You know, if
Hmm.
you're smoking the cigar and thinking you're going to get cancer, you're going to. You know, like, I'll tell you, I had a lady call me up. I think I remember, I don't know if I told you this, but oh no, was on another show, wasn't on this one. So this was only a couple weeks ago. And she called me up and she said, you know what, Dr. Wolfe, I'm going to come and see you, but I truly believe if I don't have this chemo, that I'm going to die. I said, you need to go get that chemo
Exactly.
because the belief is everything. But I will tell you something, and I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart. When people go to Tony's clinic, because I've been there many times, and I have a lot of Tony's, not a lot, but quite a few of Tony's patients that actually come to see us to learn what we have, and my patients go to him to get what he's got. So, you know, we're kind of two sides of the coin. But this is what people say all the time. And you can take it or leave it. And I challenge everyone that when you go to Tony's clinic, you're going to hear everybody saying it. And you're going to say it, that they've gone past your expectations and that this is amazing. When actually you're amazing. And when we learn to work with nature and we allow our body to do what it needs to do, and we just bring in the light, it's all about raising the frequency. When people come here, you know, within 2 or 3 days, they see things happen to themselves. And at Dr. Jimenez's clinic too, within just days, they see things happening to themselves that they were told. Well, they weren't told those things weren't going to happen, but they were told nothing good is going to happen. And then within days, I said in days, 2 or 3 days, you will see things happen. And that is my promise to you. My phone is always open. You know, I have, when you call, it says, and if you want to speak to Dr. Wolfe, it sends your call right through to me. So I'm not hiding on you. Okay? So we're right out here in the open. And we're being very open with you and telling you that all we're doing is using nature and harnessing the power of energy medicine, nature, and science, okay, to go in and facilitate what you already have. That's it. So you got to understand something. When you've been told and you go to school, okay, that detoxification doesn't matter, diet doesn't matter, okay, and don't touch the patient, don't even hug the patient. I'm going to tell you something. Love is not the answer. Self-love is the cure, and we want to show people that they're worth getting well. They're worth being cured, and you need to demand it. But you are only going to get that. You're only going to get the therapy that you vibrate at. What do you deserve, Tony?
Amen. Amen to that. And it's all about energy. It's all about the mindset. And talking about that, how many more questions we have? I kind of have to run pretty soon.
You know what,
Uh,
Tony? The questions are finished, but what I would like you to do is to close today off and tell people what you're up to. And how's that new book coming, Tony?
yes, yes, thank you. This has been a nice episode here, all the way from Taipei, Taiwan. I'm on my way to the Philippines, to Manila, for more great fun and adventure and research and interviewing doctors and seeing patients. So it'll be a thriller in Manila again for the next 3, 4 days. The book is coming great. The final draft is completed. So now it's going to the editor, and we're adding images, graphics, and illustrations at this point. So
Great.
we're expecting to have a release in November 2018
Yep.
of the book based on the 7 key principles of cancer therapy.
What a beautiful thing. Is there anything else you'd like to add for today?
Well, just to thank everyone for being here at Docstar TV, for telling your friends, and please invite others. The first Wednesday, is it? I don't even know what day it is.
The first Wednesday of every month, okay?
Yeah.
Unless you're somewhere in the time change, but usually it's the first Wednesday, and if not, they can always go to Facebook, or they can also go to our website, and they'll get information, or if they're on our email list, we will actually email them and let you know if there's any kind of time change.
Excellent, excellent. So this was great. Remember, there is always hope. There's always an opportunity to healing, and it starts with you. Love yourself, and then together we can help you through that journey. So thank you for having me today, Dr. Wolfe.
And Dr. Jimenez, listen, I want to thank you for searching the 4 corners of the earth for the answers about cancer, because, listen, folks, you got to think about this. You know, he turns over every rock. And I want to thank you. And just remember something, Tony. You rock in my heart, my friend. And thank you, and have a beautiful day. Okay?
Thank you. I love you, but I love myself first.
I know you do. All right. Have a beautiful day. And listen, okay, thanks, buddy. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. And if you would like to get my book, Healthy to 100, it's a $30 cost. But if you call into the office, you only pay the shipping, and we'll send it out. And if you want to get extra copies for your family, we will do it. It's all about getting the information out there, and that's what we're going to do. Now, tomorrow, I've got Marlene Siegel on my show, Dr. Marlene Siegel, and she will be on at 4 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, and this is called Pet Star, okay? So get your questions ready, and what Marlene's going to be talking about is your pet food making your pet sick, okay? Because that's one of the biggest things right there. And all I want to say is this. I've gotten a few emails, a few calls. What, now you're getting into pets? No, I'm not getting into pets, but I'm telling you something. You're getting into your pets. We're making our pets sick, okay? And our pets pick up our emotion, and guess what? We will actually get the same sicknesses as our pets. So the reason why I am doing a Pet Star show is it's all about the love. And guess what? Your dog is your best friend. Your cat is your best friend. And we need to keep those pets healthy so that they can show you the love. All right? How do you feel when you pick up your pet? All right? So look, join us for Pet Star tomorrow. And also next Tuesday, I'll be doing Braveheart Nation Q&A at 10 a.m. and then again at 3 p.m. Come on and ask your questions. And we get calls from all over the world. We've got thousands of people taking our Braveheart online training, and that's what this is for. But we've opened it up to the public, and you can come in and ask all your emotional questions, because guess what? You may not realize this, but you are made out of particles. Particles are 99.04% empty space. No, they're not. You're a light energy being, and your superpower on this planet is emotions. You better learn how to master them, or they're going to master you. Have the best day of your life, and thank you for joining me.